Hello everyone. Before we start, I just want to say this is just speculation. No official remake or any game for that matter has been announced as recording this video. Now, it's almost been a year since I made that video of a possible Sonic Adventure remake and what I want in it. So, a lot of time has passed and I want to do an update on that list. So, let's begin. Okay, so this is a very divisive topic and I want to talk about each scenario. So I think what Sega would do is that they're going to keep the modern voice cast, which is the most likely scenario, even though it will be somewhat disappointing to most people, including myself. But no offense to the current actors. I do want to dreamcast the voice actors for this remake. So for me, you gotta get Ryan, Scott, Jennifer to reprise the roles as Sonic, Knuckles, Amy. Now Colleen and Mike should stay in the roles as Tails and Eggman respectively. You gotta have Mike as Eggman due to the unfortunate passing of Dean Bristow in 2005. Colleen because the actor for Tails from Sonic Adventure hit puberty since then. For Gamma, I hope that they don't have Omega's voice actor because it would just sound like Omega. And that would be even more lazy than just having the current voice actors. You gotta get someone who can do a really good impression of Steve Brody, the voice actor of Gamma, who sadly passed away in 2001. Or just make him silent. So that's just me, honestly. The remake should be extremely faithful to the Japanese story of Sonic Adventure. Now we had to bring Shigeru Mikao back for Sonic games, and it would be great that he starts off with a remake of Sonic Adventure. People are tired of Pontac and Graf, and no offense to them, but they should be dropped going forward. I still wish them well in the work field though. Anyways, Shiro didn't originally write Sonic Adventure 1, but he has the best vision of what Sonic should be and has the most respect for him. I mean, there are Twitter accounts that want this guy back for the games for crying out loud. Heck, I believe that he can expand upon the lore established in Sonic Adventure 1 to give us a definitive experience. For the vocalization, honestly just get Ian Flynn. I mean, people have been saying that for years and he is a good writer for the comics, so why not? These two together will make a great dream team. This is very minor, so I will try to make this quick. I know I might get hate for this, but what if we have an opening scene animated by Neko Productions, the people behind Manual Adventures, for a Sonic story where we see classic Sonic go through his adventures to show his growth. Kinda like a last time on Sonic segment. Believe me guys, I really don't want to see classic Sonic in a modern Sonic game again. But if they just want to reference him for this moment only, it will be great. Also, this will pleasantly retcon Force's idea of alternate dimensions and make classic Sonic the past again. They don't really have to do this really. However, there are some scenes that would make sense to use the classic interpretations like Sonic meeting Tails or Amy reminiscing about Sonic CD. Moving on, something that bothers me a bit in Sonic's story is that near the end when we see Eggman retreating from his fight with Tails, it's sunset. However, his fight with Tails was at night, so it's just weird that it was like that, so fix it to where Sonic sees Eggman at night. Also, they didn't really specify what made the egg carrier lose altitude in the original, so adding an explanation to that will be good. Another thing is that I know that we had different perspectives here, but most of them are inconsistent with each other since the events play out differently. For example, Gamma takes Froggy from Big and Big's perspective. However, in Gamma's story, Big is nowhere to be found. You can have both of them interact with each other in both stories and have to call interact with Gamma later. Another example is when Knuckles sees Sonic for the first time. In both stories, the player is the one that runs up to the other character. I feel like it would be better to have Knuckles and his storyline run up the hill first and then Sonic runs up to him, just to make the perspectives line up with each other. I feel like the characters should be given new dialogue for the stages just to flesh their characters out more. One last thing is the ending from the last story. I feel like the credits can have shots of the characters excluding Sonic, that lazy sucker, helping the city folk rebuild Station Square after Chaos destroyed it. This is something that we need to talk about. Now, we should go for a stylized look this time around for the remake. Something that reminds you of Yuji Uekawa's art style if it was brought into 3D, especially the character models. I am bringing this up because recently I feel like Sonic and his friends haven't been expressive like they were back in the early 2000s. We definitely don't get moments like these anymore.
You're gonna crash! Ah!
I'll be able to keep my eyes on you.
Ugh.
Nowadays, they use their eyelids to express their emotions, which doesn't do the job. It just looks really super stiff, if you ask me. Also, I really don't like that the models have the side mouths all the time. Use the side mouth when Sonic's smirking, but keep it centered for everything else like the games from the 2000s, and actually most recently, Mario Sonic at the Olympic Games 2020. Now that was just the characters. For the hub worlds and levels, I feel like they should have the mindset of, what if these levels and hub worlds were in Sonic Unleashed, but on the PlayStation 4? Just imagine how ancient and mysterious they can make the Mystic Ruins look, or how lovely and pretty Speed Highway at Dawn will look. I feel like the whole cinematic or big moments should be animated by Marziplanet, just to have them work on the Sonic game again. If there's anything new they can work on, it's the character endings. Instead of using these cars that says Station Square or Mystic Ruins as the loading screens when you go between worlds, I would love to see the playable characters interact with the passengers on the train, like the PlayStation 4 Spider-Man game. I know like that I had to bring this up, but here we go. I hate the two-world theory in the games, and it's because I know that it exists due to Sonic 06 having humans. Here's the thing, humans in the Sonic game are not the problem. It was a hyper-realistic art style that it was. Izuka, please don't be scared. Stop being scared using humans and have to interact with intros. Especially if we talk about Sonic Adventure, which had both humans and the echidnas. It just makes the world feel united because that's how it's supposed to be. No one batted an eye when they saw a pink hedgehog buying groceries, for example. They can coexist as great NPCs. When it comes to how the humans should look, maybe they should go with the anime style like Sonic X. When it comes to the Mobians, they should have more unique designs than the ones in Forces. If the Archie comics can do that, I believe the Adventure Remake should. Since this is a remake, the Child Garden should come back, with new ideas like sharing them online, having child races online, or make little houses for them like Animal Crossing. Also, can the Child Garden have seasonal changes as well? That would make the Child Garden extremely pretty. Next topic. Okay, this is sad that I need to talk about this, but here goes. Lately, for a while, for the past few years at least, Sonic hasn't been selling well with his games due to the lack of good marketing and advertising. It's a shame because we are talking about Sonic, one of the most iconic video game characters of all time. When Forces and Team Racing were coming out, Sega didn't bother reminding people that they were coming out till at least a week before the game came out. I may be over exaggerating, but can you blame me? There was no marketing or advertising for these games for a month. He shouldn't be stuck at 1 million or struggling to reach 1 million. He needs to make 5 million the norm. So here's my idea on how to do great marketing for the Adventure Remake. Then again, a remake is going to do better than recent games since Adventure is one of the most iconic games from its generation. Okay, so first, promotional cartoons. Which is a given because they did confirm that they will do that for any new Sonic game a while back. These are extremely funny and can spread awareness for the remake. Heck, you can say that they started doing that when we got that Challenge Space cartoon last Christmas. Secondly, use social media to promote the game weekly. This is something that people behind Crash 4 are doing, and it is going extremely well for them. They just have minor updates in the game, some level showcases, and just funny tweets about the game. The Sonic Twitter account has a lot of followers, and besides just posting memes every once in a while, they should do exactly that just to keep people interested and keep the buzz going. This will benefit them when it's time to put out a huge trailer for the remake. When the game is near release, I better see a lot of ads about this remake on YouTube where everybody can see it as spam in a good way. Again, that's what the other games are doing. Why can't Sonic? Another thing is the demo. Don't do that time limit thing again. For a demo, just have every playable character playable with one of their stages. It's that simple. Lastly, and this is extremely optional, What if they delay the remake to come out a week before the Sonic movie sequel comes out? I mean, just think about how much that would benefit both products. The first movie had a lot of buzz for Sonic since the 90s, so just imagine the same amount, if not more buzz for the sequel. With that amount of craze, would it be cool at the end of one of the trailers for the movie, you have movie Sonic and Tails promoting a Sonic Adventure remake, or have Jim Carrey do it? Guys, remember, the movie trailers have millions and millions of views, especially that second trailer. So just imagine at the end of a trailer, they momentarily advertise the Adventure Remake and say it comes out on March 29, 2022 or whatever, and call that day Sonic Tuesday with a poster of the second movie signed by the people behind the movie that comes with the game. You'll get a lot of the general audience and average moviegoers talking about the Adventure Remake, which would be a great result of cross-promotion. If they do that, I am betting that the remake will sell about 3 million units in the first week before the movie sequel, and maybe even double after the sequel comes out. Also, they can have trailers of the Adventure Remake during the previews before the movie starts. Heck, the sequel will benefit even more so than the original financially wise because there was a game that coincided with it. Actually, I hope that happens. In 2021, just give us an anniversary collection, a collection of 3D games, and a manual too. I'll be fine if I had to wait till 2022 for the remake. They don't really have to do this, but I really hope that they take notes from other games, especially Mario Odyssey, and cash in on the whole alternate costumes. No other Sonic game has done this idea, but there's a whole lot of potential due to Sonic's large history. To get alternate skins for your character, you have to unlock by having the right amount of emblems when you go to the shops and the hub worlds. Doing this will give the players the incentive to search for emblems in the adventure fields and complete the other missions. Just imagine how crazy they can go with the costumes for the characters with a lot of references. You can come up with a lot of ideas for costumes, and it's just an optional thing, they don't really have to do it, but it will be cool to see. Actually, I want to know what ideas you got for outfits for any Sonic character in the comment section down below. Let me know. If there's anything to say about the boss fights in Sonic Adventure, they need a massive upgrade. Not that they aren't playable, but they could be improved tremendously. Like for the Egg Viper, add on to the atmosphere with this sense of finality to Sonic's story. The Egg Walker can take place in front of the City Hall because I think it should be bigger and have the city folk watching the fight. It can really add that sense of confidence building in Tails where the audience goes from scared to cheery Tails on the other hand. Maybe you can give these robots some new attacks, who knows? Now the rival fights need an overhaul, and I feel like they can take inspiration from the Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm series, where these fights are very cinematic and heart-pounding. It can make the fights like the ones against Knuckles and especially Gamma's fights have huge set pieces and depth to them. You can have quick time events, and if you fail, and I repeat, if you fail to push the right button at the right time, then you have to restart the session over. Heck, pretty much treat the fights like if you're playing an episode of Sonic X. Here's the real meat of the video. Sonic Adventure is still a really fun game and a good one at that, but I think its remake shouldn't just be one-to-one to the original. It should expand upon it with new ideals. So first off, Big. People don't like his fishing gameplay. However, I realize that he can still work in the game as a joke side mode. Call it Big's Big Fishing Adventure. Just improve on the fishing by having a different angle on the fishing line and no one will mind. He still should be present in the main storyline though. Gamma can stay the same, just refine it for modern times. For Sonic, I would love to see the Super Pill added to his moveset. It can be extremely faster than the spin dash, but you can't spam it. Also, if Sonic is going so fast, maybe you can drift around corners like the boost games to maintain your speed. The homing attack should have more flow/weight put into it instead of how it was like in Forces. To clarify, if you don't want a homing attack chain so that you won't lose your momentum that you gain at that point, then you just keep holding the jump button after one homing attack, or something like that. In 3D Sonic, the loops are always automated, and I feel like it's time to make them an obstacle, where you have to have the right amount of speed to get through them. Borrowing an idea from Project Hero, can we have the boost feature for Tails so you can fly faster in the air? That would be fun. Knuckles should be revamped to play like his Adventure 2 counterpart since the controls were more fluid there, in my honest opinion. Borrowing from Sonic Advance 3, I feel like Knuckles should have his wall spin dash move as part of his moveset. Amy. Oh, let's talk about Amy. Okay, the obvious thing is make her faster. However, her stages should be more survival driven. Why, you may ask? Remember Zero? The robot that chases her throughout the stages? Let's make him even more intimidating and scary, like Mr. X and Nemesis from the remakes of Resident Evil 2 and 3. Give Zero some deadly weapons like a flamethrower, armed cannons, rocket launchers, you name it. I mean, upgrade Zero from minor annoyance to Sonic's version of Nemesis. You can make Amy's stages focus on hiding from Zero and getting past him so he doesn't kill you in one shot with all his attacks and weapons. The potential is there just to make Amy really stand out since she only has 3 stages. The Sky Chase levels should be exclusive to Tails because it will be repetitive if we had to play these levels twice with Sonic. Also, the gameplay for the tornado should play like levels from Star Fox. Now, for the stages, expand upon the level design. For example, that iconic orca chase scene from Emerald Coast could be mixed with the orca chase scene from Wave Ocean from Sonic 06, where Sonic temporarily rises before jumping onto the next section of the stage. I feel like there should be one more stage in the last story that has Amy, Knuckles, Tails, and Sonic in that order where they are trying to rescue civilians after the city's been flooded. It would be a cool set piece and a great final stage for the Sonic Adventure Remake. Windy Valley is a great stage, but what if we get the beta version as a DLC stage, or just have that version exclusive to Sonic? That will be really interesting to see. There could be DLC stages that expand upon the idea of an existing level, like for example a new Skydeck-esque level, but flooded because the egg carrier crashed, or a stage that is like a good future version of Final Egg where nature and plant life has taken over. I'm saying this because it will keep interest in the remake after it's been released. Maybe you can have DLC storylines that focus around these DLC stages just to build up another remake of a game that people love. I'm just saying. Obviously, the original soundtrack should still be in the game, but there should be a new soundtrack made for it with remixes. You can toggle between the original and remake soundtracks to your liking, like Spyro. For example, the Perfect Chaos fight should have its themes swap in order. It makes sense to hear Open Your Heart, plus maybe an orchestrated version of it, played in the second half. We haven't had the theme song be reorchestrated to be the final boss theme since Sonic Colors, which was 10 years ago at this point. So we gotta bring that back. Maybe some new tracks like a results theme at the end of the stage. The unused Egg Carrier song would be great for it when it's in the ocean. Maybe there should be new songs made for the rival fights like Sonic vs Knuckles or Sonic vs Gamma. For Egg Walker, I would love to see the original theme implemented still, but you hear a mix of Tails' theme song, but it's orchestrated as he starts winning the fight. Wouldn't that be cool to see? It would be cool that for the hub worlds, they have different music depending on the time of day in the game. Kind of what they did with Sonic Unleashed. Oh yeah, they might use a Station Square remix they uploaded on YouTube a while back. That's really what I want to say about the music, but we are talking about Sonic, so the music is obviously going to be great. Well, that was my updated list on the Sonic Adventure Remake. I really do think that this game is happening, and I may be wrong, and these ideals may seem far-fetched, but I couldn't help myself. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you next time. If you want to see my other content, there might be a card right here. Yeah, I will see you next time.